minutes. Conditions apply. The time by Sagicor Bank is...
It is now 7 o'clock. It's time now for the Morning Watch.
Listeners to Love 101 FM are advised that the views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of Love 101 FM.
Hello and welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. A special welcome to our listeners on love101.org, and if you're overseas and on the move, U.S. listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you're in the UK, 0330-332-6541, or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also join us on Love 101 FM Facebook and YouTube Live. In the first watch today, examining and evaluating the recent Will Smith-Chris Rock encounter. And in the second watch, reactions from the church to the lifting of the DRMA. Our social media question we ask: how has church life been for you since the lifting of the COVID-19 restrictions? Please share your responses on our Love 101 FM Facebook page and YouTube channel, and also on WhatsApp 876-997-3125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll share your responses later on in the program, but before all of that, here's I quote.
Very interesting I quote this morning. Money and success don't change people. They merely amplify what is already there. And of course, it's coming from Will Smith, the famous man.
Good morning, Rashid.
Morning. How are you doing, Dr. Toussaint?
Well, I guess the producer intentionally chose that quote from Will Smith.
Yes, indeed.
As a segue into the first watch.
Yes, I need to speak to her. Yeah, I really need to speak to her.
Why is that?
No, I'm just really curious, why she would have chosen this.
Yeah,
no problem.
What's your take on the Will Smith Chris Rock encounter, by the way?
I think it's not real, I think it's just some PR stunt. That's what I believe. I don't
at this stage.
Yes, man. I strongly believe that. That's my point.
Interesting. I don't think I've heard that view very often. All right.
Yeah,
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Your first watch will be back after this break.
You know how Jamaican people do everything extra, right? So why should planning your retirement be any different? Introducing Jngi Silvershield, 2-in-1 coverage for motor vehicle and home including contents. See? Extra! Imagine 25% JN member discount, emergency roadside assistance, accident forgiveness up to $1 million and more. Jngi Silvershield, exclusively for members of the Caribbean community of retired persons. Visit jngi.com. Jngi will help you find a way. A member of the JN Group.
Every day I get bigger, every day I get better. I'm a star and I shimmer. Watch me grow, I'm a winner, yeah. Every step that I take, oh yeah. Feeling great cause I'm learning, yeah. I'm a star and I shimmer. Watch me grow, I'm a winner, yeah. La 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 la. Watch me grow with Alacta Plus.
Help support their mental development at this important stage with a unique combination of nutrients from Alacta Plus. This product is not intended to be a substitute for breast milk.
Do you have a heart condition? Your care should be in the hands of our experienced cardiovascular team at Partners Interventional Center of Jamaica. We're one of the leading heart centers for angiogram, stenting, pacemakers, EP studies, and ablation therapy. PICJ has the expertise and latest technology to treat all your heart needs. Call 876-995-7425 or email info@pic-jm.com for appointments. PICJ, your partners for life.
Stakeholders, items exported temporarily for repairs or for commercial use must first be registered with the Jamaica Customs Agency using an electronic customs declaration EX2 completed by a customs approved agent. Re-imported items which are upgraded, altered, or replaced may attract a customs duty. For customs related matters, you may email public.relations@jca.gov.jm or telephone 876-922-51408. Jamaica Customs, keeping our customers in focus.
Blue side, more vibe, let's flow. Data from the mobile app somewhere you know. Yeah, flow is the way I gotta go. Yeah, face it, grab it, tweet it, snap it, tune it or WhatsApp it. You got it? No Spotify and the rhythm of your life. TikTok to the world that we are enjoying. Flow is the way to go. Flow turns up the app. Now your unlimited talk and social plan comes with data for all the apps you really want, including TikTok and Spotify. Get a 7-day plan for only $725. Dial *129*6 to activate. Conditions apply.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Now, on Sunday night, a slap on stage was heard around the world. And this slap, given by actor Will Smith to the face of comedian Chris Rock at the Oscars, has opened up many discussions on various issues. Issues such as what are the boundaries in comedy, and what are the appropriate reactions and responses when someone has been publicly offended. Well, to address these and other related issues, we have online Dr. Joan Pinkney, counseling psychologist, lecturer, and host of The Counselor, aired on Love FM, and Mr. Owen Blacker Ellis, actor, writer, educator, comedian, and founder of Ellis International. Good morning to you both.
Morning. Good morning, Doc.
Good morning.
Morning, Blacker.
Hi, Sir Blacker.
Bless you.
All right, good to have you both with us. By the way, Blacker.
Yes, sir.
I'm seeing that every time I see your alias spelled, it's Blakka. That's correct?
Right. That is correct. No C, 2 Ks.
No C in that?
No.
Okay. Okay. All right. What are your opening thoughts, lady and gentlemen, on the incident which took place at the Oscar Awards last Sunday? Beginning with you, Dr. Pinkney.
Interesting encounter, and I think that sometimes our emotions get the better of us when we don't distinguish them. Yeah. Because I think that he felt one thing and he acted another way. Yeah. So I think that when in public, sometimes when we feel one emotion, we tend to react because of what it looks like, yeah, in order to say it.
All right, so for you, it's just an emotional response on the spot.
That's a big part of how I summarize it.
Yeah. Blacker, your initial response?
I think it was unfortunate that one infraction caused another infraction. Both are questionable. But unfortunate that a joke that was delivered that might have been insensitive, might have not been the best way to frame a particular attempt at a punchline, ended up with another man doing something that is just unforgivable as far as I'm concerned. It was just unfortunate for me.
And you say unforgivable? Why you say that, Blacker?
Because, well, perhaps I should rethink that, yeah, because there's always room for forgiveness. But it's not just a simple act of assaulting another man publicly on stage. But what that action does is just set back so much. It sets back, it just gives truth to the belief that black men can control their emotions and react in most cases something violently. It stains the industry. It spoils a great night. It damages the attempt to enjoy a win, the win for it just adds up, piles up the ways that act was wrong.
Yeah. Dr. Pinkney, at the center of the controversy was the issue of Jada Smith's hair loss condition, known as alopecia, I believe. What do you know about the condition, and how much of a concern would it be for a female with that condition hearing such a joke?
I am not very versed on the nature of the condition, but any condition that one has, certainly if it causes one to deface the way you normally look, there's a lot of emotional, particularly, well, men or women, but women in particular, her hair is her glory. And for her to have had to cut it off, whether it was her decision, because I suspect that in some cases some persons may not do that, or whatever it is that caused her to have to do that, it would have been an emotional transition. And so she would likely, based on her facial response to what Chris Rock said, it made me assume that she was still struggling with how she looked and how persons perceived her. So I think that, there's a lot of emotions going on. Plus, outside of that, there are other things that are happening in the Smith family. So I think that any condition that you have to contend with as an individual, and especially if it causes you to change how you look and you have to adjust to that mentally, you also have to adjust the whole person's view you. It would have had some adverse effect on her.
And Blacker, as a comedian yourself, I guess it could be argued that that's what comedians do. They try to make light or to put a positive spin, if possible, on negative circumstances and the situations. What's your take on that in regards to comedy?
Well, personally, there's one school of thought among comedians that claims that nothing is sacred. That once you get a laugh, then that's your aim, is to get that laugh. And sometimes people laugh because they're shocked, because they're embarrassed. But personally, that's not my approach. I rather go with self-deprecating humor. I rather make fun of myself. I never want to make fun of anybody in the audience. You came out to have fun. You didn't come out to be a part of the show. So I certainly wouldn't do what Chris Rock did, and I discourage comedians from doing that, from making jokes at the expense of the audience, at the expense of other people who are there, whether it is about body image, about race, ethnicity, whatever. I just think it's not advisable. I wouldn't do it. But having done it, it's a bad joke. You could respond so many other ways. You could frown, people boo, people just give a big chorus of groan. There are so many ways to establish and express your discontent, your outrage, without resorting to violence.
I'm not sure if both of you saw the clip, or at least some of it. But it seemed as if Will Smith laughed initially, Blacker.
Yes. He was laughing, and then he saw his wife roll over her eyes, and he stood up to defend his wife.
What does that say? What does that say for you as a comedian in terms of Will Smith's initial response? Maybe he saw it as funny initially.
Maybe he laughed initially. Again, I think because it was funny. There are times when we see the joke in something, but we still think it's not something I want to joke about. So his laughter was an instinctive, subconscious reaction to something that perhaps as he's laughing, he's thinking, but hold on, that's not so funny. But hold on, that perhaps Jada don't like that. So yes, he was laughing initially, and perhaps he reacted only when he saw that it was hurting her, and he got up to defend her. But my thing, if you're defending your wife against what? Against a benign joke? Give me a break.
Okay, all right. As you mentioned, break. We're up on a break, Blacker. Hold that thought. We'll be right back.
Chunky, spicy, and delicious. Get hooked on the tastiest mackerel around. The time by Lasco Mackerel is...
It is now 7:15 right here on the family station, Love 101.
Things you can do online with NCB in 10.6 minutes or less. On your marks, go! Open a bank account. Open an investment account. Get a fast cash or pay advance loan. Sign up for our mobile app and pay bills, make transfers, and check your balances. Get pre-qualified for your dream home. Apply for a credit card. Apply for an auto loan to buy your dream car. Visit www.jncb.com/getdigital to get your financial goals moving NCB fast.
Ooh la la, I see what I want at the Phosphorus Super Sale, March 21 to 31, Kingston, Mandeville, and Montego Bay. Come get your wires, breakers, chandeliers, wall lamps, LED bulbs, and so much more. Shop in Kingston, Mandeville, and Montego Bay. You can't afford to miss it. Come shop, come save at Phosphorus Super Sale, March 21 to 31. See you there at Phosphorus.
I did a crazy attack. You see me is a real G, real go-getter. My life move non-stop. So me have to stay link and flow yard and road. And my connect. And one plan link me up at home with Wi-Fi and on my mobile. With data and calls to any network. At my yard, non-stop streaming my vibes. Or studying for my pitney them. And out the road, a non-stop vibes. Same way. Flow connect me non-stop for as little as $3,999 a month. Plus GCT. I forget it. Visit discoverflow.co. Conditions apply.
Stakeholders, items exported temporarily for repairs or for commercial use must first be registered with the Jamaica Customs Agency using an electronic customs declaration EX2 completed by a customs approved agent. Re-imported items which are upgraded, altered, or replaced may attract a customs duty. For customs related matters, you may email public.relations@jca.gov.jm or telephone 876-922-51408. Jamaica Customs, keeping our customers in focus.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint, and in this, the first watch, we're in the second half of the first watch, actually. We are looking again at the recent Will Smith-Chris Rock encounter, which took place over the weekend. And we have online Mr. Owen Blacker Ellis, actor, comedian, educator, Dr. Joan Pinkney, counseling psychologist, host of The Counselor, aired on Love FM. Dr. Pinkney, same sort of question to you in regards to Will Smith's initial response. As a counseling psychologist, how would you interpret that?
Well, as I said in my earlier remarks, I think that his response was...
Well, the laughter, you know, the laughter is what I'm talking about.
Oh, the laughter. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, it could be viewed in various ways. It could be that it was a defense mechanism, because persons use laughter sometimes to cover shame and to cover anger sometimes. It could have been a defense mechanism and instinctive or involuntary response. It could also be viewed as that he actually saw it funny. He actually saw it funny, that he didn't think that it was a big deal.
At least.
Initially, right. But
yes.
as Naka said, even though he personally didn't see any issue, didn't have an issue with it, when he looked at his wife and saw her response, that she wasn't laughing too, that and we're assuming, because her face was shown, and we saw that she rolled her eyes and she was like, what's that, and how could you say that? And we're assuming that he looked at her and saw that response and decided to quote unquote man up, to say, let me do something to appease her. Let me make a comeback for her and let this person who is making a joke of whatever he's doing, or that was what intended. I wanted to know that, hey, you can't do that to my wife.
Could it?
It could also be that maybe he felt that if he didn't do anything, that he would not be demonstrating his love and he would not be showing, and others were looking on the world and his wife, and so he had to do something in order to demonstrate that, hey, you don't do that to my wife. So I think it was all in the moment, and I don't think that he stopped to contemplate what would have been an appropriate response. Because yes, he could have even gone up there and maybe stood up before him and say to him, what you're doing and don't do that or whatever. But to hit him, we're not sure. Certainly, the behavior is not commensurate with the action. Yeah? So if he had responded verbally and he did afterwards, but that kind of reaction was certain. I don't think he contemplated it. And I don't think he considered his integrity. All of that was just in the moment without stopping to think through.
Yeah, some people say that he overcompensated for his initial response.
Right.
Yeah, right. Blacker, both individuals, I take it, have apologized. What are your views on the apology? Should both have, and the nature of the apologies as you understand it?
I'm still not sure if Chris Rock has apologized. His apology that we saw, his team has said that was not him, and he has not yet apologized.
But you don't interpret it as an apology then. You are seeing it as just another statement of sorrow.
Well, I've not seen Chris Rock's apology. I've seen Will Smith's apology. His full long apology on his IG page. And I'm glad he did that. I wish he had done that while he gave his acknowledgement speech, having won the Oscar. But I'm glad he eventually apologized, and I take it as honest, and I hope he will learn from it. In terms of Chris Rock, I have not seen his apology, but I haven't seen it. By the idea of comedians apologizing, having given a joke. I would rather you not perform a joke that can be insensitive than have to apologize.
But Blacker, isn't this par for the course? That these things do happen. Not only comedians, any public speaker could find him or herself in a similar spot.
Right, and my worry is that now comedians will have to be on the guard for whether somebody find a joke not funny enough, and the work of the Antompia or hit you or stone you. And that is for me what is sad about the whole thing. Who else will now go to some comedy club and step up there and hit a comedian because they found whatever the comedian was saying to be not right in their own eyes? What about just storming out, walking out? What about I'm not laughing? What about complaining afterwards? He has now set a precedent that if the comedian joke offend you, hit him. That for me is the dangerous thing about the entire thing.
Dr. Pickney, your thoughts on the apologies or apology, depending on what you have read?
Right. I didn't hear Chris Rock's apology.
Okay.
But if he did, I commend him as well. I also heard Will's apology on the night. He did not apologize to Crystal. And he kind of stuttered and was kind of going over his words a little, and I think he wanted to, but he didn't. The fact is, at the end of the day, we're all human beings, and we do err. We do things that some extreme on the continuum of error. Some are extreme, some are a slap on the wrist, and particularly when it is in the audience is the world, you have to be cognizant of your actions. And I think in retrospect, will recognize that he could have done something, but he didn't have to go as far. So I think he genuinely feels badly about what he did. I'm not sure, though, that his ego is allowing him to apologize to Chris. I didn't hear an
I-
apology.
yeah,
I heard he
yeah,
apologized to the world and the audience, the immediate audience, and to the
yeah.
organizers, but he didn't apologize to them. But an apology is should come from him to Chris, and Chris should also apologize.
Right.
And that's our concern about how you respond and how you're going to respond to comedians, subsequently. And I think that you can't dictate how someone else is going to respond. Yeah? Because sometimes what you say is not about necessarily what you say, but is what triggers something in someone else. And so people will react based on what's going on with them, their own perspective and so on. You just have to ensure as an individual, as a professional, whether a comedian or otherwise, that you maintain your integrity and ensure that what you say is within what would be considered to be appropriate.
Yes. And for the record, Chris, Will did apologize after the event.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And I think also Chris. But lessons learned as we wrap up our discussion. Begin with you, Blacker. What lessons should we learn from this entire episode?
Well, it reinforces for me a lesson that I share with our comedians. Is to choose your content carefully and consider your audience. Do the research and be clear that you're able to not just plan your routine, but read the room, gauge the audience, so that you're very clear that you're able to make everybody laugh and nobody feel hurt. So the lesson is for comedians, you can't over-plan, over-prepare your content. Think in every single way, is there anybody here who this joke might trigger in some negative way? And so that's the lesson for me as a comedian, is to just check your content, do your research, read the room, gauge the audience response, and be clear that you're able to make people laugh happily and let no one feel hurt. And then for men generally is to control their emotions. There's always some other way except violence to express your anger, your outrage, and your hurt.
Yes. Dr. Pinkney, lessons learned?
And I say ditto to him. I think Chris, though, didn't plan to say what he said. I think he just grabbed a moment and just made a comment, yeah? Because, But I agree with Blacker that we must be careful of the material that we gather and the material that we use for those occasions. And when we use material, because you won't always know how it's going to come across. You may consider it okay, and someone is offended by it. When it comes to your knowledge that someone is offended, that you should not hesitate but apologize and to try to compensate for that. Also, and I agree with him in relation to already black men are stigmatized. But people in general need to learn that you cannot allow what someone says to cause you to go outside of your own integrity. So you must ensure that you maintain your integrity no matter what the circumstance is, because it's never justifiable. It's never justifiable to go to violence. It's never appreciated, no matter where you are in the world. That violence cannot be the answer. But you must recognize that your own integrity is important to preserve, whether you're a black man, white man, red man, blue man.
Yeah. And of course, we are hoping that, as Blackard said, that this doesn't become or be regarded and interpreted as the way to go when you are offended by a joke. Yeah.
Absolutely. But Blackard, cover you under the blood. No, that's the way we're going to come out after your talk.
Bless you for that.
What, Blacker, you are saying that you won't give those type of jokes, right? Because you read your audience carefully before.
Yeah, I make fun of me, laugh at me with me, but I will not laugh at you.
Yeah, yes. Thank you both for joining us. And I think the lessons, as I said earlier, not just for the comedians, but for every public speaker. We all have to be careful. All right? Have a productive and blessed day. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Listeners, the Morning Watch will return in just a moment.
Now with no processing fees and no down payment, it's time to open the door to your own sweet home. The time by JN Bank is...
It is now 7:30.
Protect what matters most with Benjamins. Let us help you stay safe and prevent the spread of viruses with our Benjamins hand sanitizer, soap, wipes, and rubbing alcohol. Or if you're already under the weather, try our Benjamins Relief line of products. You'll find relief for symptoms such as a cough, cold, fever, or the flu, because we're always in your corner. Benjamins, a trusted name for over a century.
I choose to start this year smiling with Colgate-Palmolive. By purchasing selected Colgate-Palmolive products at participating stores, receive premiums or samples. Promotion available from February 1st to March 17th. Go on, what are you waiting for? Start this year smiling with Colgate-Palmolive.
Stakeholders, items exported temporarily for repairs or for commercial use must first be registered with the Jamaica Customs Agency using an electronic customs declaration EX2 completed by a customs approved agent. Re-imported items which are upgraded, altered, or replaced may attract a customs duty. For customs related matters, you may email public.relations@jca.gov.jm or telephone 876-922-51408. Jamaica Customs, keeping our customers in focus.
Blue side, more vibe, let's flow. Data for the mobile apps and where you know. Yeah, flow is the way you gotta go. Yeah, face it, grab it, tweet it, snap it, tube it or WhatsApp it. You got it? No Spotify and the rhythm of your life. TikTok to the world that we are enjoying. Flow is the way to go.
Flow turns up the app. Now your unlimited talk and social plan comes with data for all the apps you really want, including TikTok and Spotify. Get a 7-day plan for only $725. Dial *129*6 to activate. Conditions apply.
From generation to generation, Jamaicans have depended on JN Bank to make the pride and joy of providing a safe place for their families possible. Now, with no processing fees and no down payment mortgage options, you can open the door to your own sweet home, a legacy to hand to your next generation. Visit jnbank.com to get pre-approved today. JN Bank will help you find a way.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Now, let's take a look at the newspapers to see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing in the Gleaner. Carifta head coach, confident in 78-member strong team. Clear them out. Lewin champions campaign to purge force of crooked cops. And then we see here in the Gleaner, 60% of security firms snub NHT's payment demand. In the Observer, a madness a go on. Relatives, friends left puzzled, angry by murder of reggae legend Tabby Diamond. And we see also in the Observer, US announces $30 million investment in Jamaica, agreement secured after meeting between Holness and the US Vice President. And then a happy ending. Boys give home fans win as curtain falls on Qatar campaign. Congratulations to the Reggae Boys upon their winning their final game of the season. Coming up next, we'll read some of the feedback from our social media question. How has church life been for you since the lifting of the COVID-19 restrictions? Please leave a comment on our Facebook page and YouTube channel, Love 101 FM Jamaica, or WhatsApp 876-997-3125. We'll be right back.
He knows my name.
Here is your opportunity to connect with someone who will listen, pray, and give guidance. It's the telephone counseling ministry of the Edgewater Baptist Church. Please call 220-6474, weekdays between 8 a.m. and 9 p.m. and Sundays between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Please talk to someone if you're finding it particularly challenging to cope during this period of global crisis. Someone is waiting for your call. Please reach out today. 876-220-6474. It's the telephone counseling ministry of the Edgewater Baptist Church.
This is a reminder that somebody cares. Endorsed by Love 101.
He knows my name.
Catch the life-changing album launch of Minister Samantha Blake entitled Under the Blood, Monday, April 4 at 1 p.m. and it will be live on Love 101 FM. That's the album launch, Under the Blood with Minister Samantha Blake, Monday, April 4 at 1 p.m. live on the family station, Love 101.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's now join Roshane for a look at how our Facebook, YouTube, and WhatsApp friends answer today's question: how has church life been for you since the lifting of the COVID-19 restrictions? Roshane.
Well, I'm not seeing where they're responding as it relates to church life. So, but they're actually responding to the saga with Will
First
Smith.
watch.
The first.
Let's hear that.
So, a listener here, Winsome Lawson, was saying Will Smith found it funny at first because of Jada's reaction, why he tried to prove he's defending her. Chris, if he knew about the situation and joke about it, then he's wrong. Will Smith, on the other hand, she gave a thumbs down. And another one here says, for the Morning Watch, yes, so basically this person is commenting. We're having one service now. We get to see each other, members, see other members, I should say, that we didn't see for a while because of the shifts we had before, but we still adhere to protocols the same. I know Dr. Toussaint, oh, you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
So we still adhere to shifts because we had before, but we still adhere. Yeah, so we still adhere to protocols the same because COVID-19 still keeping. And of course, she was also commenting on the first watch. Chris Rock was the first to apologize. So that's what I'm seeing here in the comments. Over to you, Dr. Toussaint.
Okay, all right. A lot of comment there and on both watches. Thank you very much, those who responded. Thanks for reading the responses, Roshane. As we segue into the second watch, according to a recent Observer article entitled Pastors Happy for Church and Entertainment Industry, the following was reported, and I quote, religious leaders reacted with jubilation to the government's withdrawal of restrictions under the Disaster Risk Management Act, DRMA, but cautioned Jamaicans to continue observing personal safety measures to prevent another COVID-19 spike, end of quote. But this morning we are asking, why are religious leaders jubilant about the lifting of the DRMA? Should they be? And what are the possible implications of this development for the life and ministry of the church? Well, to discuss these and other related issues, we have joining us the Reverend Franklin King, pastor of the Kingston Open Bible Church, and the Reverend Davwin Thomas, pastor of the Burchell Circuit of Baptist Churches in St. James. Good morning to you both.
Good morning, Dr. Toussaint. Good morning, Reverend Thomas.
Morning.
Good morning to your listeners.
Great. Good morning, Reverend King. Dr. Thomas, yes, you're muted, Reverend Dr. Davwin Thomas. Good to have you both with us this morning.
Thank you.
Right. Now, the Observer article states that pastors are happy for the lifting of the DRMA. Are you also happy, gentlemen, beginning with you, Reverend King? Are you happy about it?
Sure, Reverend Tucson. I am happy, and not only happy, but I'm very thankful. The first thing I would like to say is that I am thankful that the army has been lifted by the Prime Minister in terms of the protocols and allowing the church to meet. Because one, I believe it is a time of thanksgiving to Almighty God. Because the fact that we are able to meet and the COVID things in terms of the number of persons that's been affected has reduced significantly. I don't believe it is just man's doing, but it is God's intervention. Persons, the church have prayed. Right across the world, the church have prayed. And I'm not saying that the vaccine have not contributed significantly, yes. But the church prayed, and we believe God heard our prayers and answered our prayer. So we are giving God thanks for answering prayer. So oftentimes these things happen and persons think is man's doing. But this is not just man's doing. God has intervened. So it's a time of thanksgiving unto Almighty God for hearing and answering the prayers of the church. So yes, we are happy.
You're happy.
Thankful.
Okay. Okay, Reverend Dr. David Thomas, your take, sir. Are you happy as well? Reverend Thomas, can you hear me? All right. I don't know if Reverend Thomas is hearing us. Reverend King is still hearing me, right?
Yes.
Right. How did the DRMA restrictions and regulations over the past 2 years affect your congregation?
It has affected us in a very significant way. For instance, Reverend Tucson, before COVID, we had in our Sunday morning services. We have always have two services. Our first service have somewhere about 1,000 persons, and the second service have somewhere about 300 to 400 persons. And for us to go down at one stage to 12, you remember that 12? When we had the 12, we tried to have 3 services. And then we move, I think one at a time, we had 20. And, so the number was drastically reduced. And persons just could not come to church. And it just interrupted our program totally.
Yes.
So you can understand that.
Yes, from 1,012. I mean, that's a huge, huge decrease.
Yes.
There are some features, Reverend King, of the DRMA. Which features of the DRMA did you as a pastor find most challenging to adhere to?
The one that I really find most challenging is the one to ensure that the numbers, to stick to the numbers.
Oh, okay.
It pained my heart when the security guard had to turn back persons who dressed to come to church. And to observe the protocols, we had to turn them away. That one was challenging. I remember one morning when we had the 100 and the ushers counted the 100 in church. And I saw a couple going away. I am telling you, that was challenging.
Pained your heart, eh?
In my heart.
All right.
And I believe, Reverend Tucson, that the church cooperate with the COVID protocols? And I think we were. I think that
yes,
we were.
Reverend King, I'm so sorry. We are up on a break. Please just hold that thought. We'll be right back.
50 and over, get the best health plan as well as fabulous discounts. Visit ccrponline.org today or call 469-1944 and live life to the fullest. The time by CCRP is
now 7:45.
Daddy, when we're going home, I'm bored.
Oh, my daughter, you can use my brother data and watch some YouTube or something else.
Really, Daddy? I can watch my favorite shows right now, but what if the data done?
You know that the data can't done on my Digicel Prime Brata bundle.
OMG, thanks, Daddy. Look, there's a new episode. Let me watch it now.
Enjoy your favorite apps anywhere you're there with data with a Digicel Prime Brata bundle. Dial *147 number sign from your Digicel phone to activate today. Digicel, made in Jamaica.
If you're a farmer or a fisher folk, this one's for you. Sagicor AgriCare Plan. With AgriCare Plan, you can get affordable insurance coverage for you and your family. Life insurance, critical illness coverage, or health insurance for as little as $1,700 every 3 months. Visit SagicorAgriCare.com to learn more. Farmers and fisher folk, get the insurance coverage your family deserves today with Sagicor AgriCare Plan.
The world is full of job opportunities locally and overseas. Let us bring them to you. Register now at Distinction College located at 2600 Park Road, Kingston, 6 Newton Street, Spanish Town, and Oak Jurius. In 2 to 3 months, earn local and international certificates in housekeeping, food and beverage, food preparation, receptionist, and customer service. Qualified to work in hotels, cruise ships, restaurants, and businesses worldwide. No subjects required, no age limits, no entrance test. Day, evening, and Saturday classes begin very soon at low school fees, easy and flexible payment plans. Call us 356-4167.
Stakeholders, items exported temporarily for repairs or for commercial use must first be registered with the Jamaica Customs Agency using an electronic customs declaration EX2 completed by a customs approved agent. Reimported items which are upgraded, altered, or replaced may attract a customs duty. For customs related matters, you may email public.relations@jca.gov.jm or telephone 876-922-51408. Jamaica Customs, keeping our customers in focus.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint, and in this, the second half of the second watch, we continue to discuss reactions from the church to the lifting of the DRMA. And we have online the Reverend Dr. Davwin Thomas, pastor of the Burchell Circuit of Baptist Churches in St. James. Was having some technical challenges, but I believe he's on with us now. Yet true, Reverend Thomas, can you hear and speak? Let us hear you.
Oh, thank you very much. I am hearing you clearly. I'm not sure you are hearing me now, but I am hearing you.
Yeah. Hearing you, Dr. Thomas. Good to have you. And we also have the Reverend Franklin King, pastor of the Kingston Open Bible Church. Before the break, Reverend King, you were telling us about some of the features.
Yes, I really think, Reverend Toussaint, that the church in general tried their best to observe the protocols, and I think we have cooperated with the government. But I don't think we were treated fair. I think the church could have been treated much better in terms of the numbers. For instance, when the general rule, for instance, 12 persons within the church, they should have taken into consideration the size of the churches, the building.
Okay.
And based on that, proportion could be said, well, churches with X amount. And for instance, the 6 feet distance, I believe that could have been used more often than just giving a number right across the board. So I think the church in general was treated could have treated far better than how we were treated.
Interesting. Reverend Dr. Thomas, your take on that?
Oh, well, maybe just partly agreeing there. Sometimes it's difficult in situations like that to make really informed decisions, and with the risk of sounding to be partial or giving one congregation more leeway than the other. Granted, some work could have gone into that to make it more equitable, as we might say, but I saw it a challenge there. Of course, I know that larger churches could have accommodated more. But just to repeat myself, we could run into some difficulties in that respect.
Yes. Right. What did you find most challenging, Reverend Dr. Thomas, with the DRMA restrictions?
Oh, well, the fellowship. We really missed the fellowship. But apart from that, the churches on a whole adhered to the protocols, and so there was not much of a difficulty in that respect, because as you know, the church had found other ways to really worship and to minister by themselves. Right. Of course, the usual fellowship was missing. That was the most challenging. We wanted to have our meetings, Miss Members meeting, other kind of gatherings, sometimes some pastors' fellowship that we used to have, that was really absent. We had a big challenge with that. But apart from that, we really understood what was happening in the country, and so tried to comply.
Right. Reverend King, since the lifting of the DRMA, what has been the response? I think it's about 2 weeks now. What has been the response of your congregation?
We have steady increase in terms of the numbers that are coming. We are not back fully to our numbers, but each week we notice improvement. More and more persons are coming out, and we continue to encourage and urges persons to be back in church. We are trying, for instance, I think the night services are the ones that are more affected. The numbers are way down. Persons are so accustomed to being in their living rooms in the night,
online,
and so on.
Online.
Yes. But the thing is that the number of persons who weren't privileged to be online, did not have the internet connection, I think this have been very good for them. I think they really, they are able to come back face to face and to have fellowship, and I think this is very important.
And Dr. Thomas, your experience for the past 2 weeks?
It has been great. I've heard expressions of, church language, hallelujah, thank you, Jesus, and concurring with Reverend King. Those who were less tech savvy found it just a wonderful experience to be back. Because, as you might have noted, some were alienated from regular communication with fellow members because, one, some of them could not afford the credit on a regular basis, and others just did not know how to get on social media. Of course, there are persons who have tried to help them. I know of one young man from one of the churches made it his duty to go into certain homes to help them with the technology. So for those persons, it was a tremendous relief that they could be back in person. As a matter of fact, I was not preaching at a particular church one Sunday morning, but I just slipped in at the back. And I was just amazed to see the kind of dancing, really celebratory, as the worship music team was on. People literally got out of their seats and just was going about the congregation as freely as they could.
Danced as David danced, eh?
Yeah.
the protocols, the protocols, Reverend Dr. Thomas. Which protocols have you retained or modified since the lifting of the DRMA?
Okay. You know, there's hardly any difference. I still see the team at the door, making sure that people are sanitized, and well, the temperature check might not have been, well, one of the churches that has been relaxed somewhat, but they still do the sanitizing and people still wear masks.
Why the relaxing of the the social distancing remains?
Oh, go ahead, please.
No, I'm asking, the social distance remains and why the temperature check has been relaxed.
It has not been universal. I just believe that some persons maybe just took it upon themselves to say, well, it's not necessary. But that was not really an order from the church as such. Just saying that, you know, maybe some people felt that way. And it's not universal in the churches that I visit. Most of them still retain that the temperature check.
Okay. Right. Reverend King, what has been retained or modified since the lifting of the DRMA?
Well, we are retaining the temperature check. We continue to sanitize, the wearing of the mask, and we still observe some amount of distance in terms of persons sitting. We still sit in every other row, every other pew, you know. So there is always a space in between.
Okay. Well, going forward, gentlemen, as we wrap our discussion, what are your suggestions, recommendations, concerns going forward? Beginning with you, Reverend Dr. Thomas, with the lifting of the DRMA, and still in a pandemic, yeah.
Yes. As welcome as it is, we are not out of the woods as it was yet. So we have to be extremely careful. And as I think I heard from the Prime Minister that while certain things are not mandatory, we should feel free to protect ourselves and those around us. So my suggestion is, at least in the short term, we should, as much as possible, adhere to the principles, you know, to safeguard ourselves and our families and other community members. In terms of the economy, I don't think all of the protocols would be sustainable, you know, because we'd be at least trying to save our lives, but at the other end of the spectrum, persons still would have to eat, would have to get an income, so we'd have to go kind of gingerly in that respect, just to ensure that there is a balance, because we have to eat, we have to live. So we just have to hold that. It's a kind of a delicate balancing act in some ways, but we cannot retain all of the protocols in the long run.
Okay. Reverend King, half a minute.
I think we have to gradually, we have to still observe the protocol. We are still having COVID. So we have to ensure that we try our best to keep our people safe. And in terms of the technology, I think we need to have the blended approach. We can't afford to give up the technology. We need to continue with the technology, because we have now the church become a global church instead of just in our little communities.
Right. Well said, gentlemen. Thank you both for joining us. I know that you are two very hard-working pastors. We wish you all the best going forward and the congregations that you give oversight. God bless
Thank you very
Thanks
much,
for
sir.
joining.
Thank you for having us this morning.
Thanks much, and same to you, and continue to enjoy your life and your congregation also.
Thank you. Listeners for being with us. For information or get copies of this program, call our production department at 876-968-9596-7. This has been the Morning Watch. Thanks to our producer, Miss Kathy Gale, and our guests. Please join Mr. Stokely Marshall next week as he continues to look at the issues of the day. I am Dylan Toussaint, giving a shout out to the pastor and members of the Haven of Hope by Open Bible Church in Augustown. As I hand you back to Love in the Morning with Roshane Douglas.
Thank you, Dr. Toussaint. All the best to you now. Looking forward to seeing you in a few weeks' time. This is Love 101.
NHF beneficiaries enrolled for diabetes can get a glucometer with the use of their NHF card. Apply online at nhf.org.jm. The time by the NHF is...
It is now 8